Local news headlines, traffic, and weather up next on WVON.
How successful can your business be if no one knows about it? Whether you're a large corporation, a small business, or an independent entrepreneur, marketing and promoting your business is the key to your success. That's why you should call the Flow Corporate Audio Group. We're an award-winning team of experienced audio and video professionals specializing in custom content development. Need a corporate training video, custom audio or voiceover for a trade show booth, a custom jingle or a musical logo, custom sound effects, or a fully produced radio-ready commercial? If it can be heard, the Flow Corporate Audio Group can create it at a price that fits your budget. We're changing the way businesses are heard. To learn more, visit our website at www.flowcag.com. That's FLOWCAG.com. Or call us at 708-283-8860. Mention WVON and get 10% off your first service package. The Flow Corporate Audio Group. We're the sound choice for business.
News is sponsored by NACA American Dream Tour. NACA, a nonprofit HUD-certified organization, brings this American Dream Tour to the House of Hope, Tuesday, March 6th through Saturday, March 10th. Stay tuned to WVON 1690 for further details.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, March 6th. I'm David Martin IV with WVON News. Here are some of the stories making headlines at this hour. The G8 summit will not be held here in Chicago. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is justifying the U.S. targeting and killing American citizens overseas in the war on terror. One man is dead and another is critically injured after a violent domestic argument in a Lakeview home last night. And Super Tuesday in Ohio is expected to be a tight race between Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum. I'll have more details on those stories at the bottom of the hour. We will take a look at your morning drive and weather right after this.
In today's economy, buying a home or keeping the one you have is tough. But NACA, a nonprofit HUD-certified organization, can help you do both. And it's free. NACA's mortgage is the best in the nation, and you don't need perfect credit. There's no down payment, no closing costs, no points or fees.
Low interest, if I can tell it, low interest, 3.625.
You can qualify for this fixed-rate mortgage during NACA's American Dream Tour at the House of Hope Church in Chicago from Tuesday, March 6th through Saturday the 10th. If you already own a home but are struggling with the payment, the American Dream Tour may help you too.
Savings of $817 a month.
NACA can reduce interest rates to a payment you can afford.
At this point, we are saving almost $1,200 a month.
Whether you're trying to save a home or purchase one, make it happen during NACA's American Dream event at Chicago's House of Hope Church. The service is free. For documents needed and to register, go to NACA.com or call 888-499-6222.
This traffic report is brought to you by Vista Health System. If you're passionate about nursing and caring for patients, join Vista Health System today. Vista currently has great career opportunities for nursing professionals in their specialty and medical surgical units. Choose excellence. Choose Vista. Apply today at vistahealth.com.
WVON Drive Time 6:07. David Martin IV, glad to be along with you for your morning drive. Taking a look at your commute delays on the Eisenhower, driving inbound from Manheim Road towards 17th at around 25 minutes. Additional delays this hour on the Dan Ryan. That's outbound at Roosevelt Road. There's been a rollover there from a UPS truck. You have a commute near 27 minutes. Your forecast for today, a gorgeous day. Sunny skies, a high near 62 degrees. This evening, clear, you'll see a low near 50 degrees. And for Wednesday, more sunny skies, a high near 62. At Midway Airport, it's now 33. At O'Hare, it's 36. Here at WVON Studios, things are on the up and up at 35 degrees. That's a look at your morning drive and weather. I'm David Martin IV. Rise and shine, Chicago. It's now time for the best morning show in Chicagoland. The Matt McGill Morning Show is next. This is what we do. We are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
Ladies, join Ayala Von Zant and Susan Taylor for the Gold Rush 2012, March 29th through the 31st at Lincolnshire Marriott. Take the time, get away, relax, restore, and renew. Register today, pccfam.org, or call 773-417-9595.
Broadcasting live from Chicago. You're listening to Step Kid Radio on the Talk of Chicago and the Voice of the Nation, 1690 WVON.
All right, guys, here we are on Tuesday. Now, David, this is the first of two unusually warm days for March for us, right? Or at least for the beginning of March.
Oh, yeah, this is.
Today we're going to get up to, what is
60
it?
degrees.
60, is it? I thought tomorrow's 60. Is it going to be 60 both
60
today
both
and tomorrow?
days.
All right, good. I'm happy about that. Now, I guess the challenge is going to be how many people are going to light up their barbecue grills. How many? You know what? The last time we got a little warm weather, I think it was, in February or maybe late January, I could smell the briquettes burning in the neighborhood. You know, people were just chomping at the bit. I think there's always somebody who wants to be the first person to pull out the grill every year.
Why not?
This is going to provide them with that opportunity.
It's an honor to be the first person on your block to have the barbecue. My dad prided himself on it when we were growing up. I remember that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Roll out the, you know. And this, I really haven't had opportunity to clean the last one. I'm just like kind of going with the grill and all the stuff that's on it, just burn it on off for extra flavoring. Still, usually I go through this process of cleaning my grill off, bringing a water hose out and going through the whole ritual. I don't know if I'm just light it up, put the coals on, and get everything going. The Bulls, the second of the two revenge games people were talking about.
But a big injury, though, last night.
Big injury. What, Rip Ham? What happened? Is he hurt again? What's the news?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't hear the official report after the game, but it didn't look good. You seen it, man. I mean,
I know he didn't come back in the game, but he's not, he's a frail guy anyway. It doesn't take much to bang him around a little bit. That wasn't good news. But anyway, the Bulls did win by 20-something points, and Derrick Rose didn't even have a great game. However, they were able to extract revenge over the Indiana Pacers. Two teams they needed revenge on. The Philadelphia 76ers, they beat them handily, I would say, on Sunday. And then last night they handled the Indiana Pacers. That's a division rival there. Sixers a conference rival. And the Bulls look strong, though. Despite the fact that Rip Hamilton got injured last night, they do look strong. They look like they're going good. All right, the big news, of course, people are talking about it all day. Where were you when you got the email? When the announcement came that the G8 is no longer coming to Chicago? Everybody's talking about it. We're going to have Andy Thayer on with us to talk about it from the protesters' standpoint. Andy is Chicago's leading protester. We've decided to give him that title. And we'll ask him what his official title is when he comes on. I know he protests in the name of something, and we will find out what that is. I'm going to have a little fun with Andy anyway and see if we can get him to protest for us sometimes, because we have some issues that we need to protest on.
I like the sound of that.
Right. I mean, maybe even right here at WVON. Who knows? We can get him to decide. I'm going to ask him about the Wall Street, the organized protesters that were protesting on Wall Street and the Occupy Chicago. Was it Occupy Chicago or was it Occupy Grant Park? Did we ever come to an official title?
I thought it was Occupy Chicago.
Was it just Chicago?
Yeah.
We didn't say like Madison Street or
no, I didn't hear
nothing
too much
like
of
that. Sweet baby, we didn't come up with an official Occupy Chicago title for the protesters. We didn't name them by organization, just like it was Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy the Bean.
What would be the street in Chicago we would give the Occupy movement?
Michigan
Avenue? Or would it be LaSalle Street? But since Wall Street was kind of aimed at, the corporate bigwigs.
Yeah, that's what most people see. Most people who are spending the money, they're on Michigan Avenue, and the people who are making the money, they're on LaSalle. That's a good point.
I'm going to ask him about the Occupy movement, though. Did the cold weather kind of give him a lower profile in Chicago? And we'll find out what his answer is. Look, guys, we have a guest co-host in the studio with us, Rosemarie Andolino. You are the commissioner of the Chicago Department of Aviation. Yeah. That's a sound effect for you. You like that? Oh, I don't think your mic's on. There you go. Okay. All right. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Thanks for having me on today.
Good. You got up early to come on and hang out with the morning show?
I did, yes.
Now, tell us about you. Are you from Chicago?
Born and raised, actually. Moved out to the suburbs, Elk Grove Village.
Don't tell people that. Just go with the Chicago thing.
Go with the Chicago thing. And then came to DePaul University. So I've been in the city ever since, yeah.
All right. Now, the big question is, where did you go to high school? I ask people that all the time. When you say, I'm from Chicago, the where did you go to high school question really nails it.
I was at Conant High School in Hoffman Estates. That's suburbs. Lived in Elk Grove, high school in Hoffman Estates. Like I said, as soon as I could get out, came right to Chicago.
Came to the city, right. But now, what's out there? I mean, what city is the epicenter of that area of the suburbs, would you say?
Schaumburg, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like where you would go for some city activity, besides coming to Chicago, if you're out in that
First
Northwest?
job was out in Schaumburg at the Woodfield Mall.
Oh, of course.
Yes, after school.
Was that the happening, hanging place going to Woodfield Mall?
Yes, they had an ice skating rink in the mall.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. At least when I was a kid. It's no longer there.
That was fun. You know what? See, when you tell your kids or people about they'll be like, those were the good old days. I remember coming out here at Woodfield Mall when they had an ice skating rink. And then people would be looking at you. They had an ice skating rink out here?
Exactly.
And you'd be, yes, yes, yes. Now, I would imagine, though, the Woodfield Mall, I want the kids probably still hang out there today, of course. That's still the in spot. Do kids hang out? I wonder, do kids hang out in malls like they used to?
You know, I think so, but unfortunately, I don't have a good barometer for that. I don't have any children, but I usually, if I'm around shopping, I usually see children
a bunch
all over, young adults.
They will always be out there. Now, do you live in the city now? Of course,
I do. I live here on the southwest side, McKinley Park.
Oh, there you go.
So,
now, how long have you had this position?
I've been the commissioner of the Chicago Department of Aviation for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So Mayor Daley appointed you.
Yes, and previous to that, I was running the O'Hare expansion, which is the $8 billion runway project.
It's a heck of a responsibility.
It is. It is.
To be put on a gal from the northwest suburbs.
Yes, I started that in 2003, so I've been working in the aviation field since then.
How is that? I mean, that was I don't want to say it's a headache, but it's a tremendous responsibility. You got to deal with your budget, and you're coming in under budget, and cost overruns, and criticism. And did you have to go and explain yourself to the city council?
I do. Yes, absolutely. I go before the council.
You have any favorite aldermen? Or wait, maybe we should go the opposite direction. Who do you hate in the city council?
I like them all, Matt. They're all great people. So.
And so what now? When you go to city council, do you go in front of a committee? I would imagine, right?
Yes,
budget
committee
committee
on aviation and budget. There's
mm-hmm.
we go before and depending if we're going through a bond deal, we're going through the committee on finance. Our annual budget that's appropriated by the city council. Again, we go before Chairman Austin's committee on budget, and our chair of aviation is Chairman Zaleski. So those are usually the three.
But somebody gets on your nerve. Because I bet, you know what, aldermen, they have to. That's like their opportunity and kind of like, you know who really runs this city, don't you? Well, the mayor does. And we're here to make your life tough. I'm going to ask some tough questions for you. How are those committees? Alderman Burke, then, if you go in front of finance, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Is he imposing when you come across a guy who's been around the city council for a long time? Do you be like, oh, Lord, we got to go in front of Alderman Burke? But he's every time I've met him and seen him, he's been a very courteous guy, very gentlemanly and friendly guy, right?
He is. They're just all very bright at what they do, so you just need to be prepared. Right. That's the key. Go in there being prepared and being ready to answer all their questions. And short of that, everything's okay.
You know what, Rose? I saw Mayor Daley the other day. I was out having dinner at a Cafe Beyond over here on the south, like 19th and State Street. You familiar with that restaurant?
Absolutely, I go there.
And you do, right? Yes. Wonderful food, right? And who walks in? We're sitting down. I'm with my sister-in-law and Mia, and we are sitting there, and he kind of walks in, and I just see the back, but I could tell the way Mia was looking at him, like, that's Mayor Daley. And I was like, is that the mayor? He looked great, though, I have to say. He looked, you could tell the burden of being mayor, the responsibility of being mayor is completely lifted off of his shoulder. He really did. He looked rested. He looked great. He looked like Al Pacino almost walking into Cafe and Beyond. But, I mean, he really did. I mean, he looked great. And I bet you can imagine in working with him and being in meetings, how stressful it is to be mayor. It's got to be. I bet it's stressful being the aviation commissioner.
I think this because of being in government and in politics, you've got that spotlight on you all the time. So it is challenging. I mean, to anybody, whether you're the mayor of the city of Chicago or the president of the United States, you're under a microscope every minute of every day.
So have you ever gotten any negative press, any reporters you want to call out and say, that bum, I can't believe he wrote that.
No comment.
You really know what public life is like when you see, like, in the newspaper your name and like, what? Yeah. What is going on? I didn't ask for this.
Exactly.
I got to point it.
It's not what I told him.
Right. Well, wow. Yeah, that's it. He took those few words I gave him and ran with them. Anyway, all right, Rose is here at 6:40, guys. Andy Thayer's coming on, as I said. We're going to talk about the effects of the G8 summit moving away from Chicago to Camp David. And I'm asking Andy, hey, why don't they get on a plane and go to Camp David and protest, man? Are there protesters at Camp David? Do we have any file audio from past protests out at Camp David?
I don't even think media is allowed in Camp David. It's very rarely do people go to Camp David.
It's our responsibility then, before Andy comes on at 6:40, to come up with creative ways that he can drop in on the G8
accidental
summit.
plane crash.
Anything, man. Parachuting. Let's think of ways, guys, that we can bring canoeing, stuff like that. Somehow, is there a river? I'm sure there's a river in there. We're going to give him some ideas on how to crash the party. Anyway, 6:20, David Martin IV here all morning with WVON traffic, weather, and news. Ladies and gentlemen, the Apostle. Hallelujah. Well, Sweet baby Ray Diaz here all morning. Do you have any words of wisdom? We got to come up with some words of wisdom for them.
Oh, we'll have some, Brother Matt. We'll have some.
See there? The commissioner is waiting for your words. Commissioner, you might be influenced by the apostle Sweet baby Ray Diaz and join his church, which has yet been established yet. But it is. We're going to get the charter out and the mission statement. So if you are overwhelmed by his presence, it's understandable. It happens to all of our guests here in the studio. 621, the phone lines are open at 591-1690. It's the morning show. Get up, get on it.
As your morning commute continues, so does Step Kid Radio in just 3.5 minutes on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
My name's Jennifer Artis, and I put nurses to work. To me, healthcare is not some political issue. It's real. It's real to Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., too. Jesse led the fight to pass President Obama's health care plan. The big money folks tried to stop him, but Jesse and the president won. Now Jesse's protecting our Medicare and Social Security, keeping our hospitals open, and making sure our community has enough nurses. They say one man can't make a difference. Well, Jesse Jackson Jr. got us the money to start a nurses training program. Now we have 1,200 more healthcare workers in the Southland, and we're saving lives every day. That's 1,200 more jobs for our area, 1,200 more skilled workers treating those in need, and countless lives being saved. All because Jesse Jackson Jr. stood up and fought for us.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., and I approve this ad.
Jesse never stops fighting for the people.
Paid for by Jackson for Congress.
Lord Hammers, how you doing? Hallelujah. Thank God for saving me.
Mabel Simmons, you need to get a job.
Hallelujah.
Coming to the Airy Crown Theater, Thursday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 25th. Medea gets a job.
Hello, this is Medea. My brand new play is coming to your city. You need to go and get your tickets, okay? Good day. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.
It's America's favorite playwright, live on stage again. It's Tyler Perry as Medea.
Huh? Oh, no, I can't loan you no money.
Medea, back on stage. Get your tickets now.
Hey, this is Tyler Perry, and you gotta come out and see my new play. I have missed you so much. Come on out and see Medea live on stage. If you have not seen Medea, you do not know what you're missing.
Medea gets a job. On sale now at the Airy Crown Theater box office and Ticketmaster.com. 1-800-745-3000. Buy your tickets at the box office to avoid additional fees.
So I heard you dropped the old satellite for Xfinity.
Best move I ever made. I didn't know what I was missing. Xfinity's on-demand service is incredible. They've got way more movies and TV shows than satellite. Plus, PC Mag named Xfinity the fastest internet provider in the nation. I don't want to brag, but I kind of do.
A simple yeah would have been fine, but hey, that's cool.
Actually, there's more. Xfinity gave me guaranteed rates for 2 years with no contract and a 30-day money-back guarantee.
That's great. Now I don't feel so bad about asking you to borrow $20.
When did you do that?
About 2 seconds ago. Yeah, lunch money.
Call 1-800-XFINITY and switch to the Xfinity Triple Play from Comcast for $99 a month for the first 12 months. And with Sure Price Guarantee, you'll get guaranteed rates for 2 years with no term contract. Plus, get HD DVR service free for 3 months. Get the best in TV, internet, and voice. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Offer ends 4/15/12. Restrictions apply. Limited to the Start or Accept Triple Play for new residential customers. After promo, regular rates apply. Equipment installation taxes, franchise, and phone fees extra. PC Mag rating based on review of customer data.
This is Dorothy Tucker from CBS 2 Chicago, inviting you to join me every Wednesday for customer service. It's a half hour packed with information for conscientious consumers. We'll tell you where to get the best deals, how to negotiate with your creditors, couponing, and so much more. We want you to be a better consumer, and everything you need is on customer service every Wednesday with me, CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker.
Listen to Customer Service Wednesday mornings at 10 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This traffic report is brought to you by Protect the Bed. Every mattress needs protection from bed bugs. You can protect your mattress from bed bug infestations with Protect a Bed's Ultimate Protection Kit, featuring the AlloZip mattress encasement with the patented bug lock entry escape and bite-proof system. To find a dealer near you, go to protectabed.com. Long live your mattress.
WVON drive time 6:25. David Martin IV, proud to be along with you for your morning drive on what's going to be a beautiful day. At this hour, delays on the Bishop Ford Expressway, driving inbound from 115th Street towards the Dan Ryan at around 25 minutes, and all kinds of stopping and stalling issues this hour on the Eisenhower, driving outbound between Citrus Avenue and 17th, a long commute near 45 minutes. 2 right lanes are blocked there. You want to avoid that area at all costs. Your forecast for today: sunny skies, a high near 61 degrees. This evening, mostly clear, a low near 48. For Wednesday, how about some more sunny skies? We'll have a high near 63. At Midway, it's now 34. At O'Hare, it's 36. Here at the WVON studios, things are on the up and up at 35 degrees. Well, that's a look at your morning drive and weather. I'm David Martin IV. Let's rejoin the morning show host with swagger as the Matt McGill Morning Show continues right now. This is what we do. We are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
Smart, intelligent talk. Talking about what matters to you. The talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
All right, we are back with our guest co-host for the entire morning here, Rosemarie Andolino, Commissioner of the Department of Aviation for the City of Chicago. How do people say the Commissioner of the Department of Aviation or the Aviation Department Commissioner? See, I can flip words around either way.
You know what? Most people just say Rosie.
Rosie, see, I like that.
Or aviation commander. I love that. That sounds so, she's a nice commander, too.
She's
great. So great.
Aviator-in-chief, maybe.
Oh,
we can
I like that.
We can mix this up. Oh, look, Ray, he wants to get on this.
Wait, do you have like a cool uniform or something you get for being the aviation commander?
Yeah, we'll have to design some.
That's right.
There you go.
I think, with the shoulders and like maybe a hat. You think a matching hat? We can do that. That shows authority. You're gonna go to work today with a whole different attitude.
Or like something out of Star Trek,
Right. Your employees are gonna be like, Rosie, what got into you? What did you do this morning? Well, I went over to the morning show for WVON. Now, for our listeners and for me as well, and everybody else listening, what do you do? What are you in charge of?
Well, basically everything at O'Hare and Midway International Airports.
Mm-hmm.
So from the concessions to council activities of things that need to go and be approved, like all our concession activities before the city council, whether we're doing bond refinancing, the operations of the airport, snow removal. So it's
you saved some money on salt this year.
Yes, we didn't have to use so much. Yes, it was a light year compared to last year when we had 22 inches in one day.
Does that come out your budget, or is that a general city budget?
No, in fact, the airport, and I'm glad you asked this question, it is self-supporting. It does not use city tax dollars.
Really?
Yes, we use all of the money that's generated at the airport.
And that money comes from the airlines, of course, because they lease out the seats. Passengers, based on taxes?
It's based on the concessions and parking revenues, as well as, like you said, the airlines pay landing fees and terminal rent. So all of that goes to offset our costs, which at the end of the day, then if we have less revenue than our expenses, then the airlines pay that difference. If we have more revenue,
it's very nice of them,
right? Then they actually get a reimbursement. Then at the end of the year, we do true up every year.
Now, what about something like the expansion project? No, that comes out of the city's budget. No?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, really? So
yes.
O'Hare, is that self-sufficient?
Self-sufficient,
wow.
Yes. In fact, we issued GARBs for that, what they call general airport revenue-backed bonds.
Mm-hmm. And Midway too, is it doing as well as O'Hare? Obviously, O'Hare is an international
fabulous.
Really,
they just grew 7% this year. So Southwest is basically their hub.
Yes.
I mean, they've been growing leaps and bounds.
More than any airport, that's where they land and take off, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I figured that.
More than LAX?
Southwest, yeah.
I love LAX airport. That is.
Yeah, but Southwest just started flying out to L.A., didn't it? I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. Didn't they just start flying out to L.A. like in the last 10 years maybe?
Wow. They don't have the robust operation that we do at Midway. I mean, Midway has really grown for them, and they've pretty much taken over the majority of the facility.
All right, so even though you said earlier you don't have any children, you do. Midway. One's named Midway and one's named O'Hare.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite of your two children?
They're both equally as important.
Oh, look at that. Which one's cuter? Which one's smarter? Which one's more efficient? But you know what I tell people all the time about Midway, because Midway is the smaller, I think, better operating airport just because of the size of it. But that might not be true at the end of the day because of the passenger volume at O'Hare. You have to take that in consideration. There aren't too many airports that deal with that passenger volume, right?
Exactly. I mean, we're one of the top three. You've got Atlanta, Beijing, and Chicago.
Wow.
Yep.
In the world then?
Yes, in the world.
Yep. Crazy. Wow. That puts it there right for you. All right, Rose, we'll be back. When we come back, we'll be joined by Andy Thayer, protester extraordinaire in Chicago. He's going to tell us about if the cancellation of the G8 has changed his plans at all. I think you already know the answer to that question. You also know the answer to this. Who's coming up with news? David Martin IV.
Thanks, Maddie Matt. It's always a pleasure. Let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines at 6 o'clock. And, of course, the biggest one, the G8 summit, which is now not going to be held here in Chicago.
The president is the host of the G8 summit, and it was his decision to have a more intimate setting at Camp David, and we respect that.
Jennifer Martinez with the G8 and NATO host committee is saying Chicago will still get to host the NATO summit. After the G8 summit, officials declined to say why the event was moved to Camp David, only saying hosting there will permit a more, quote, free-flowing discussion. One man is dead and another critically injured after a violent domestic argument in a Lakeview home late last night. Authorities are still investigating the circumstances that left a 25-year-old man dead from multiple stab wounds. Doctors at Advocate Illinois Masonic Medical Center managed to destabilize a 53-year-old man who was also involved in the dispute. There's no word on what actually caused this confrontation. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is justifying the U.S. targeting and killing American citizens overseas and war on terror.
Our actions must always be grounded on the bedrock of the Constitution and must always be consistent with statutes, court precedent, the rule of law, and our founding ideals.
Now, Holder spoke last night at the Northwestern University Law School defending the country's right to such action under Congress authorization to use unnecessary force against the perpetrators of 9/11. Finally, Super Tuesday in Ohio is expected to be a very tight race between Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum. Now, Dr. Herb Asher with Ohio State University is saying a lot of Republicans aren't sure who they're going to actually support.
People expect that Romney could win, Santorum could win, but I think they generally expect that the margin would not be great in either direction.
Now, recent polls are showing Romney with a very tight lead over Santorum going into today's vote. Can't wait to see the reaction and what happens out there in the great state of Ohio. Well, that's a look at some of the stories in the news this morning. We'll take a look at your morning drive and weather after Sunny Means Sports Report. But first, here's Donna Wilson.
With the Bloomberg Urban Report, I'm Donna Wilson. The market opens this morning after closing lower yesterday. Stocks fell after China cut its economic growth target, and orders to American factories dropped for the first time in 3 months. Well, it's costing you more to fill her up. The average price at the gas pump is pushing toward $3.80 a gallon. That's because crude oil is remaining high because of tensions tied to Iran's nuclear program. And in the business of sports, today, Shaquille O'Neal turns 40 years old. The former NBA player is currently an analyst on Inside the NBA. Now, throughout his basketball career, Shaq earned 4 NBA championship rings, 15 All-Star selections, and endless other accolades. Financially, early in his career, at 23 years old, Shaq was making $17 million in endorsements from companies like Reebok to PepsiCo. In business, O'Neal launched one of the best-selling basketball shoes ever, nationally and internationally.
With IBM's Masters of Business Change, I'm Bill Crawford. One company is addressing business challenges with a new leadership program focused on critical analytical thinking, innovative design thinking, and personal leadership. Bonnie Fetch, Director of People and Organizational Development at Caterpillar, has more.
We are developing a robust leadership program which will benefit us at all levels. It includes formal learning, on-the-job experiences, coaching and feedback, as well as action learning. We believe better leaders will create a better employee and customer experience.
The flagship element of the program, called Digging Deep, is designed to prepare future Caterpillar leaders for executive-level positions. It combines the expertise of current executives with the academic expertise from Stanford University.
Participants build key skills and gain experience through activities centered around our corporate social responsibility mission to enable access to basic human needs, education, and a sustainable environment.
Soon, Caterpillar will post more information at cat.com.
That's your Bloomberg Urban Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
Girl, thanks for the ride to church. I have to ask, who are you voting for Congress?
Well, I was with Junior, but after 16 years, I'm tired of all of Jesse's promises. All that talk about the airport, there's no airport. I hear Jesse talking about jobs. What jobs?
Yeah, and all I ever hear on the news is about Jesse's problems.
Yeah, Junior's too focused on his own problems to fix ours.
Well, I'm going with Debbie Halverson. I heard she was a single mom, raising 2 kids, selling Mary Kay before she made it all the way to Congress herself. She's a big supporter of President Obama's, too, voting 90% of the time with him.
I read in the Sun-Times Jesse's been caught lying about Debbie's support for President Obama.
Yeah, well, that's because Jesse's trying to hide his record and the fact he voted against President Obama's jobs bill.
When unemployment nearly doubled on his watch?
Well, after 16 years, it's time for Jesse to go.
You said it.
On March 20th, vote for change. Vote Debbie Halverson, Democrat for Congress.
I'm Debbie Halverson, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Halverson for Congress.
This sports report is brought to you by Jersey Mike's Subs. Please join Jersey Mike's this month for the month of giving as they support Children's Memorial Hospital. To make a difference, make it Jersey Mike's and make it count. Over 600 stores nationwide. Visit jerseymikes.com.
Good morning, Sunny News, WVON Sports. Well, the Bulls did it again. They dumped the Indiana Pacers 92-72 in back-to-back games. Luol Deng scored 20 points in the game. D. Rose added 13 points, 9 assists, and hit 3 three-pointers. And while Deng, he knocked down 2 3-pointers in the third quarter, and the team picked up their 7th straight victory. And it was kind of testy out there, Derrick Rose.
They're a good team where last time we played them, they beat us here, and now we just got to deal with them where they put up a fight every time we play them. We're used to it, and I think it's making us better as a team. It's just that we just go out there and we're trying to win the game. And if that's exchange of words or whatever it is, it's basketball. You're going to hear that. We just got to get used to it.
And Luol Deng jumps in on the word about that testiness out there.
You don't want to lose to a team twice in a row at home, especially a team that you could be facing in the playoffs. And we played them last year. Even though we won 4-1, they played us close every game.
Sunny News, 1690 WVON Sports.
This traffic report is brought to you by Governor State University. Earn success by degrees at Governor State University. With convenient classes and the most affordable tuition in Illinois, moving ahead just got a whole lot easier. Learn more at govst.edu/GSU today.
WVON drive time 6:37. David Martin IV, glad to be along with you for your morning drive at this hour. Give yourself additional time commuting on the Bishopport Expressway, driving inbound from 115th Street towards the Dan Ryan, driving your 27 minutes, and all kinds of incidents on the Eisenhower. Outbound between Lorraine Avenue and 17th, there's been a major accident there. 2 right lanes are blocked. You'll have a drive near an hour and 10 minutes. Well, your forecast for today is going to be simply gorgeous. Sunny skies, a high near 61 degrees. This evening, mostly clear, a low near 48. And for Wednesday, how about some more sunshine? Well, behind near 63 degrees. At Midway, it's now 33. At O'Hare, it's 36. Here at WVON Studios, things are on the up and up at 35 degrees. Well, that's a look at your morning drive and weather. I'm David Martin IV. Rise and shine, Chicago, as the Matt McGill Morning Show continues right now. This is what we do. We are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
The latest news from CNN and the Daily Listener Poll. On the air at 1690 and on the web at WVON.com.
All right, guys, it's 6:39. Rose Andolino, Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Aviation, in with me all morning. Coming up on the show today, we are going to talk about this story. Are African-American students in Chicago public schools getting harsher discipline? We will talk about that. I'm sure you guys want to chime in on that conversation. And Rose, we went the entire first half hour. We didn't even mention today is Super Tuesday. So there's a big election going on today. You guys know that?
Exactly.
You know, we Chicagoans, we tend not to care about elections unless it's ours, right?
You got to care about this one. I'm hurt because my home state, Ohio, I was just there
that's
over
right.
the weekend.
That's
and
right.
When I was there, I heard so many ads for Mitt Romney and Mr. Santorum. It was crazy, man.
Really? No, None for the Ron Paul and who's the other guy? Newt.
Yeah, Newt. Yeah,
the other
forgot
guy.
about him so
Boy,
soon.
how quick we forget.
Yeah.
How soon we forget. Newt was on the top of the world not too long ago.
But all the money I heard spent, while I was there on the radio and like ads was all Romney and Santorum. It really is in Ohio, just a two-man race.
In Ohio, that is the big kahuna in this day. So there's I can only imagine how much money was spent in that election and what it was like turning on the television. It was just commercial after commercial after commercial, campaign ad after campaign ad after campaign ad, and we will talk about that. But right now, of course, the big story, G8 going to Camp David. NATO summit's going to stay here. Somebody who that's affected a little bit is Andy Thayer. You guys know Andy. You've seen him on television. He's one of the top protesters in Chicago. We call him protester extraordinaire and also organizer for the coalition against the NATO and G8 veteran protester. How about that, Andy? I tried to get all of your titles in there. But
you're making me older, Matt.
I know, right? Just add on your initial reaction. Everybody was caught off guard by this. I know you've been asked this question 1,000 times since yesterday at about 2:45. But your initial reaction, and does this change any of your protest plans?
Well, it does change some things, Matt. The main thing to say is that the protest will be going forward because NATO by itself certainly is enough to protest. We basically see NATO as the de facto military arm of the G8. We live in a country that spends as much on its military as the rest of the world combined. Military security spending, so-called, has doubled since 9/11, and yet we live in a city where mental health clinics are being closed, where schools are being closed, where CTA has faced cutbacks over the past few years. I mean, the list goes on and on. So NATO is an obscenity, in my view, in terms of not just the $65 million they were talking about spending on it, which is a total lowball figure, but also with the trillions, literally, that's spent on it. Well, half the world lives on less than $2 a day.
Now, what are we expecting in terms of protesting, though, for the NATO summit now? I mean, you've outlined it. Not much is going to change. You guys are still going to be here. Are you hearing from other protesters that are coming in from out of town? I mean, what can Chicago expect? What are you hearing? What are you expecting? And has any of the outside forces that were going to come to the city, have they changed their mind just based on the decision yesterday?
No, we haven't heard that at all. I think everyone that we have spoken to outside the city is saying, wow, you guys just scored a huge victory here. This is important. I guess protest works. And frankly, you look at the history of how rights have been gained in this country, and it has been through protest. I mean, Chicago back in '68 was, I would argue, the beginning of the end of the Vietnam War. So the protest here in Chicago certainly has that aim with the ending of America's longest ever war, which is, of course, the NATO-led Afghanistan war. So we've got a unique historical contribution we can make this May in this town if we get off our butts and get out into the streets.
All right, now somebody would say if they just turned down the volume and saw you on the news, boy, that's an angry man right there. He's angry all the time. Every time I see him, he's angry. That Andy Thayer, he is angry. I don't know what he's talking about because I got the volume down, but boy, is he angry all the time. I want to ask you about, because I say that, I say, boy, Andy is angry. He is always I wanted to get a grab on your mindset when it comes to protesting, the things that you protest, and are there any public officials, publicly elected officials, that you are 100% satisfied with and you would support, and just as vigilant as you are in protesting, you would come out that hard in supporting him and saying, hey, this is a good politician, this is somebody that we should support? Who do protesters support? Because the Occupy Wall Street movement kind of confused me a little bit. I understood in general what the movement was about, but it seemed like the protesters were angry about politicians on both sides of the aisle, Democrats, Republicans. When I heard some of the protesters criticizing President Obama, you know, that was dear to me because I am a big Obama supporter. I'm a little confused about what the end game was for the protesting, because it seems like if you protest President Obama, then it seems like that helps a Republican candidate. And then my mindset is, if you think things are bad now, Mitt Romney, you know, you get a Republican in there, I can't imagine that any of the Republican presidential candidates would have a heart toward the 99% like President Obama does.
Well, actually, Matt, I find the fact that the Occupy movement is decidedly nonpartisan or anti-partisan, if you will, is a huge breath of fresh air. I look at the Tea Partiers, and I see them as basically useful idiots for the Republican Party. And I think that's really one of the strengths of the Occupy movement. And if you look at the history of how rights have been won in this country, I think that that's really the way to go. I mean, Dr. King did not endorse a single candidate in his entire life. He successfully played off the two parties against each other in the run-up to the 63 March, and I think that was a huge reason why that march had such impressive impact on the wave of civil rights legislation of that era. And I think that's the kind of roots that our movements need to go back to if we're going to be successful. I think our anti-war movement, unfortunately, was singularly unsuccessful in pushing President Obama in the right direction when it basically folded up its tent after 2008 for the most part. I think when you look at, the boogeyman's going to get into power if you don't support the allegedly lesser evil, I don't think that's true. In 68 here, people railed on the Democrats. It was a Democratic Party war back then, and Tricky Dick Nixon got in. And as a result, people actually, they took the movement into the streets. They'd given up on the ballot box as the solution and for ending the war, at least. And that was the beginning of the end of that war. Tricky Dick Nixon was forced to pull troops back from Vietnam, even though his own personal politics and policies were to the right of Attila the Hun. So really what matters is people relying on their strength in the streets to force the politicians to do what they say they're going to do or what they more rightly don't want to do regardless of their rhetoric. And I think that holds true with President Obama as well. I mean, he has escalated the war in Afghanistan. He's spread the wars into Somalia and Pakistan and Yemen, and there's been more drone deaths year after year under President Obama. People kept on saying, well, if you don't support President Obama, you'll get a third Bush term, and unfortunately, we got a third Bush term regardless.
But I don't think, Andy, you can analyze President Obama and say that you might be able to point to national defense and say that President Obama has continued to support some of the policies of President Bush, but that's one faction of his presidency. I mean, you have to look at President Obama.
Look at the National Defense Authorization Act.
I agree. Look, that is something that can be debated. There's no question about that. And I think in terms of national defense, I think this: if President Obama wanted to operate foreign policy the way that protesters want him to operate, he would not get reelected. That's just the reality of politics,
that's
Andy.
True.
Right. And so then when you criticize him though for not doing the things that you guys want him to do, if he did what you guys want him to do, that would be political malpractice. So he could not do that. He would be just basically saying, "Hey guys, I like being a one-term
getting reelected."
Of course, but that's what this is about. The political process is about being reelected. It's about reelection.
But Matt, it's the point of the matter is not whether or not this or that person can get reelected. The point is how do we get the kind of policies that we want? Tricky Dick Nixon.
Okay, but now Andy, I agree with you. No, hold on.
Thanks to a movement.
Right, all right. Now I agree with you, and I'm sorry about cutting you off. I agree with you, but sometimes getting the policies that you want mean focusing first on reelection. That's my position. I think sometimes
from his point of view, yes, but not from people in the streets' point of view.
All right, no, I hear you. Good point.
The point is not, Matt. The point is not who should we vote for. The point is how can we get the policies that we demand and need so urgently in this country. And I would argue that's not through the ballot box.
I would say it's only through the ballot box, though. But hold on, but I'll let you comment on that.
Vote in order to win the right to vote.
Okay, all right, no, hold on. I'll let you comment on that when we come back. You got time? I got to take a break here. You got time?
Certainly, Matt.
Okay, there you go. Andy Thayer is going to return with a 6:50. More with Andy when we come back. First, David's got traffic and weather coming up next.
Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The Filet-O-Fish at McDonald's isn't just the Filet-O-Fish. It's the one and only Filet-O-Fish. And it's tough being the one and only. Look, I know. Like me, the Filet-O-Fish is unique. It's got a golden filet and American cheese on a steamed bun. And like me, we're both one of a kind.
Wait, aren't you a twin?
Well, I was first, so I'm the original.
The simple joy of being unique. Enjoy the one and only Filet-O-Fish. Flaky white fish, tartar sauce, American cheese, all on a steamed bun. There's nothing else like it. At participating McDonald's.
Hey, Mama.
Hi, son. How are you?
Good, good.
Did you eat a good breakfast today?
I'm about to. I was just going to have some bacon.
Sounds good.
And some eggs.
Well, somebody's getting fancy.
And some delicious griddle cakes.
Wait a minute. I know my son. How exactly do you have time for this?
Welcome to McDonald's.
I raised you right.
For a perfect sit-down breakfast made with crisp bacon, fluffy eggs, hot cakes, and love, nothing beats the family-style goodness of a McDonald's breakfast platter at participating McDonald's.
Calling all school teachers. The Illinois Network of Charter Schools Teacher Job Fair is March 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event is free, but registration is required. Special education, bilingual, and male teachers who want to work in charter public schools are encouraged to attend. Visit incschools.org or call 312-629-2063, extension 13. That's 312-629-2063, extension 13 to learn more. Go to incschools.org.
Hey, it's Monique Carradine. You know, when I'm not on the air, I help entrepreneurs, executives, and experts learn the secrets of marketing and getting media publicity. So if you're ready to take your business to a new level, register for my premier 2-day Visibility Bootcamp. It happens March 16th and 17th, and space is limited to 10 visionary professionals. If you are ready to stop being the best-kept secret and start getting more visibility, credibility, and profitability, I'm ready to show you how. Go to visibilitybootcamp.com for more details. Early bird registration ends February 24th. Only 10 seats available. The website again is visibilitybootcamp.com.
This traffic report is brought to you by Visit Florida. Get out of the winter gridlock. It's time for white, sandy beaches, crystal clear waters, and sipping drinks with funny names. Your Florida side is calling. Unleash it at visitflorida.com.
WVON Drive Time, 6:52. David Martin IV, proud to be along with you as you head out for your morning commute for work. At this hour, delays in the Bishop Ford Expressway. Driving from 130th Street towards 111, you're 29 minutes. There's a disabled vehicle. Your left lane is blocked there. If you're heading out this hour, the Stevenson has additional delays. Driving inbound from Harlem Avenue towards Kedzie at around 22 minutes, and still delays this hour on the Dan Ryan from 95th towards 79th at around 25 minutes. Your forecast for today, how about some sunshine? A high near 62 degrees. This evening, mostly clear, a low near 50. For Wednesday, more sunny skies, a high near 63. At Midway, it's now 34. At O'Hare, it's 36. Here at WVON Studios, things are on the up and up at 35 degrees. Well, that's a look at your morning drive and weather. Rise and shine, Chicago. I'm David Martin IV, and let's rejoin Matty Matt as the Matt McGill Morning Show continues right now. We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The WVON lineup, chat room, blogs, photos, podcasts, and more on the World Wide Web at WVON.com.
.653 guys from ABC 7. Chuck Gowdy joins us at 7:10. 7:10. At 7:10. That's 7,010 time. Military time. When is that? At 7:10, Chuck Gowdy will be on. Andy Thayer, protester extraordinaire. I gave you that title, protester extraordinaire. Talking about some of the issues out here. And good conversation, Andy. I appreciate you hanging on and coming on with us a little. But you said you do not think that you make change at the ballot box. And some people would argue vigilantly with you about that. They would say that's the only place not the only place, but that is where you make change. You can protest all you want to. The only thing that matters to politicians and public policy is who's coming out to vote.
Well, actually, the people in the streets forced Tricky Dick Nixon, as I said, to do things he didn't want to do, and I think that's what we need to start doing with President Obama, frankly.
You are going to vote in November, though, Andy. Come on.
Yes, I always do vote, Matt, if for no other reason to say that I wasn't so lazy as to not get off my butt and do that. But I would say it's probably the least important political act I do each year.
But somebody who you would vote for, wouldn't you say that, or do you recognize that your protesting can have an impact on whether or not they win or lose an election?
Well, I think that what has made the mainstream candidates much more honest and actually move towards the kind of positions I like is when a third-party candidate gets the kind of votes that puts the fear of God in them. An example in point would be when Gavin Newsom nearly lost the mayoralty out in San Francisco. When he did get into office, he was so scared he went and started instituting marriages for same-sex couples in that city, to the chagrin of the National Democratic Party. It was directly because a Green Party candidate took 45% of the vote.
Yeah, but to the degree that protesting has an impact on the outcome of an election, then that could be a personal decision by you or by protesters who to protest on, right? So when you made the statement earlier about the Tea Party to the Republican Party, some people could say then that you guys protesting the G8 or protesting President Obama or the mayor of San Francisco, you guys could be operating as a wing of a interest as well because you're trying to have an impact on the outcome of an election.
Well, Matt, I have been accused of that, but I'd also add that I took 2 felony account arrests protesting against George W. Bush back in 2008. So I am very bipartisan. If a politician is pursuing policies that I disagree with, it doesn't matter if they've got a big little R or a big letter D next to their names. That's whom I protest against. And I think one of the secrets to the weakness of the progressive movement here in the city of Chicago is because everyone around here is running with a big D next to their names. People don't touch them. I think that Mayor Emanuel, some of his horrible policies, they need to be directly confronted. It doesn't matter whether he's a Democrat or a Republican.
I think all politicians, I agree with you. I think all politicians, look, I think you're not going to find a head of government anywhere. I don't care if it's a mayor, governor, Cook County Board president, President of the United States. You're not going to find a head of government where there's be a list of things that, like, I got a problem with this, I got a problem with this, I've got a problem with this. There's no question about that. But how do you balance off when you decide to protest against a politician? How do you balance off the good versus what you might consider to be the bad? For example, if you look at a politician and you say, well, I do not like him on his positions on war. However, on gay rights, I like his position. Then do you still go out and with the same fervor protest against him on war, even though you like his stance on gay rights?
Well, in terms of President Obama, he still has refused to recognize full legal equality for our community, just as an example. And so, yes, I do. I didn't
name names,
Obama.
though.
Well, I just did because that's what people point to. But President Obama, when he was a state senator, supported equal marriage rights, and then he backtracked from that position, and that's something to be protested. Certainly,
but you would say that he supports it more so. Right. I was about to say you have to agree that he supports it more so than his potential opponents from the right. All right.
He
Good.
does. But
Now,
frankly, Matt, when a politician refuses to support full legal equality for a whole group of people, it doesn't matter if he's a little bit better on that, a little bit less. He dehumanizes us.
All right. Andy Thayer.
So we'll be out in the streets. I mean, right. Dr. King, as I said, never endorsed a politician in his life.
Right.
And he accomplished a little bit, didn't he?
Right. But he was political, though. I mean, you saw Dr. King's in the White House. We got into this conversation. But to be continued, my friend, you come back on. Let's continue this conversation, all right?
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. I do appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk about this again. Andy Thayer, guys. When we come back, Chuck Gowdy from ABC7 joins us to talk about what else? The G8 not coming to Chicago.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to WVON.com. Let's get straight to what matters in a website. The mood. It looks good. It feels good. It's user-friendly. And simply put, it's awesome. WVON.com. Check it out.
CNN News, local news headlines, and traffic and weather on the Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation.